Berg is the kind of town you'd expect to have a gym in it. With the supermart and its, metropolitan big city kind of vibes. Like I said, you'd expect it to have a gym, maybe even the biggest gym in the region. But funny enough, there isn't actually really a gym around here. I mean, there's the creepy old cottage that supposedly a gym leader once lived in, but, other than that, there's not really... Oh, that's where the other one went. Everyone, allow me to introduce you to Rotom, Renai form, Shopping Center form, the Genius Shopper Pokemon. These Pokemon are incredibly fast and materialistic. They have a tendency to guard the items that have the highest discounts. Only the worthy may profit. So last episode I took this and made this. But what if I took this and this? No? Well, okay. There, how about that? Anyway, it now has shopping trolley, like wings and dark bags under its eyes. That wasn't supposed to be a pun, it was just meant to say that, it's meant to be just the normal form of Rotom, so it's meant to look like tired and kind of a bit, distraught, but I'll take it. But, other than that, there's not really anything interesting around here, so I guess I'll just... Thanks. No, wait, no, I'm not. Paradrius, the Caladrius Pokemon. When born, it is said these Pokemon are pure white, with no markings or even eyes, as they help heal people and Pokemon by absorbing the toxins in their bodies. Their bodies warp and Their bodies warp and transform. As a result, they gain new abilities. I don't really know how I screwed that one up, but So hey, look at this cool bird I found. Anyway, this Pokemon is based on the Caladrius, which is a Roman mythological creature that is a snow white bird that will, help heal the king, because of course the king gets all the cool stuff. And it is said to be able to take the sickness into itself and then fly away, dispersing the sickness, healing both itself and the sick person. A creature who is able to absorb something and then spread it around the rest of the area / population. I will remember this. Anyway, it has this tube on the back of its head, I guess, to make it look more, artificial. I don't know why I wanted this Pokemon to have an artificial vibe. It's not a lab experiment or anything. It has wings, almost like a doctor's coat, with even a little button on it. And the little symbol on its chest makes up the, medical cross that most medical personnel have. Its beak is meant to almost be like a syringe, which makes it kind of function almost like, when you suck venom out of a snake bite, but actually helpful, because that doesn't actually work. Please don't actually try that. But of course, taking in the toxins still costs the... had something stuck in my throat there. No, wait! Vampluck, the Eternal Pokemon. The toxin these Pokemon absorb have caused it to evolve. It is able to store different toxins in its body and inject them into their opponents with a fierce bite. They remain dedicated to helping people. This Pokemon is just a shit mix of inspirations, with the Caladrius now evolving into a vampire, except instead of sucking blood and making vampires, this Pokemon sucks sicknesses and then gives the sicknesses to its enemies, which, includes status conditions. This Pokemon, while it is just like a random conglomerate of inspirations, the inspirations are still cohesive. We have the Plague Doctor, which gives the whole immune to disease thing, because this Pokemon is immune to the diseases it picks up from people. And also the kind of generic, bird monster vibe. The Caladrius forms the foundation of the Pokemon, with the concept of old, medieval doctors wearing the blood and viscera and basically shit and piss on their aprons to symbolize experience, being the reason why this Pokemon kind of has more color dotted around it. Also the idea that the Caladrius starts off pure, and then as it absorbs the toxins, then it kind of becomes less pure white, and the vampire giving it those fangs, but also its signature move, Vampek, which is an 85 power flying type move, which gives the Pokemon's status condition to its target. So say this Pokemon's paralyzed, it hits the target with Vampek, gives the target paralysis. If the Pokemon has no status condition, it takes the target. So if the opponent, I don't know exactly how helpful it would be, because it's like kind of, you can't really spam it or anything, because you just end up taking the status condition back and forth from the opposing Pokemon. But it could be fairly helpful, I guess, in like doubles, if your ally who like resists flying gets poisoned or something, you can just take away the poison and give it to the opponent. But I don't exactly know how powerful this Pokemon would end up being. And also the little like coloured dots around its body symbolize the different status conditions, so that's fun. Anyway, I'm gonna go to that old decrepit house and use this thing that mysterious stranger gave me. And actually, I think I'm gonna go in the other direction. Dark Alone, the Spritzback Pokemon. That category doesn't make any sense, but that's primarily because I was trying to match Darkrai's description of the pitch black Pokemon. So maybe it should have just been the Spritz Pokemon, but whatever, Spritzback Pokemon. These Pokemon constantly release a marvelous smelling fog from their bodies. However, no one knows how good it actually smells, because the Pokemon uses the fog to mind control its victims. Its vain nature makes scientists believe it just convinces the victims to believe it smells nice. So, one of my favourite things to do with convergent evolution Pokemon is taking legendaries, usually ones that are like hard to get, like mythicals, like Mew and Darkrai, and basically kind of just distorting them enough so that people can kind of, you know, I guess use their favourite legendary Pokemon kind of in a spiritual sense. But anyway. So I thought Perfume would be a good use for Darkrai, because, you know, it kind of goes into, you kind of breathe it in and you mess with your mind. And while technically the ancient Egypts or Hungarians made Perfume, I thought it made sense because, you know, the Romans had a lot of trade with Egypt, and I'm definitely not just saying that because I'm an idiot who forgot to do proper research again, and who looked on Wikipedia, which said that Italy invented perfume. I apologize about that. I don't know if it's going to happen again or not, but I can at least try harder. I promise that. But anyway, I still like this Pokemon, so I would have kept it anyway. It has these little, I guess, orbs around its neck, or to almost be like a necklace, but also to reference Darkrai's kind of like tooth necklace. I don't know what that is exactly. It wears like almost a corset to make it look more fashionable, I guess, but also to make it look more like someone's in a dress, you know, with its cunty eyeshadow ironically being one of the aspects that it also takes from Darkrai. Also, its body is restrained to almost look like something climbing out of a bottle of perfume, but, you know, or just like a generic kind of bottle, you know, glass vial, like bottle, glass, whatever, it doesn't matter. But I just loved this design, and I couldn't just leave it at that, so here's Mega Dark Alone. I also needed more Megas for my own original Pokemon, so... each particle of this Pokemon smells different. In its new form, this Pokemon struggles to mind control people, because the smell is so powerful they frequently die upon smelling it. So anyway, you may notice that this Pokemon does not look like Darkrai anymore. So anyway, its bottle is almost stretched and twisted to look like the neck of some great beast with teeth, now referencing Darkrai's like teeth necklace thing, resembling smoke pouring out of a creature's mouth. You know how like dragons, when they're breathing fire, they have like the smoke coming out of their mouth. Anyway, in fantasy, I mean. Its body also looking, like I said before, looking like a bottle, but also someone in a dress. It has these elongated arms that, I'm not gonna lie, just kind of look cool with these smoking ends that I guess were made to reference Darkrai more closely, but I'm not entirely sure. Huh? Ruith, the Brace Pokemon. In ancient times, these Pokemon were said to be very powerful, but prideful, and attempted to take over the Renai region. So, Renaissance created binds for the Pokemon to prevent it from expressing its full power. Now, what do all of these things have in common? Fantastic question. So I wanted to make a Pokemon based on, the Leaning Tower of Pisa. It's possibly one of, the most famous Italian landmarks besides the Colosseum. So that kind of set me on, search for inspiration. So, started off with the idea of the Leaning Tower of Pisa, which gives me ideas of ruins, because, it's leaning, it's not broken or anything, but it gives me the idea of ancient ruins. With that bringing up the idea of ancient legends, specifically the stories of legendary Pokemon in Pokemon games. With it being leaning, giving me the idea when matching it with animals and its white color almost to be like a cast, so like broken bones, and with dust that kind of floofs out from falling buildings and stuff. So I took the idea of this Pokemon being in a cast, but then combined it with the idea of ancient legends to be almost like the Pokemon, be one of those Pokemon whose true power was too powerful, so they were restrained. With the idea of broken bones linking to the cone of shame that some dogs have, and then that matching up with the Legato, which is like this, one of those curly dogs, so that I could have the dust effect, I guess. So it has these really big floofs coming out from the bottom of its cast, in quotations, because it's not a proper cast, but who cares, to be almost like the dust coming off of stuff as it falls. Pardon. It has, the leaning Tower of Pisa, in air quotes, as almost like a cast around its neck, with another part of its body referencing, the proper cast, instead of just like the cone of shame plus a cast, and then it's also got a little bit on its tail. With the little swirl on its mouth meant to resemble a muzzle. But, of course, that's not where I was going to leave it, so... Mega Ruith. This Pokemon's unruly hair swirls like dust in the wind. Their main body is far skinnier and bone white, making some scientists believe the Pokemon merged with the braces around its body to make itself stronger. Now, it may be based on the Legato, but this Pokemon is very much not a dog, and this Megaform shows that it's very much not a dog, with its brace almost meant to look like a shattered castle, like ruins, and almost like a crown coming up around its neck. Its body is now massive, with dust flowing around it, almost like... I don't really know what to reference it to, but it just, dust swirls, I don't know. With a giant dragon-like tail, because dragons are cool, and I wanted it to seem more, hardened and strong. This is Una. Is she technically a faceless gym leader? No, because the painting actually changes depending on her emotion, so therefore not another faceless gym leader. Anyway, she has 2,500 years, over 2,500 years actually, of being a gym leader, and she is very, 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 very dead. Hence why I needed the Luigi board to contact her. Get it? Because Nintendo. Ha 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 ha. Yes. I apologize. Anyway, not really much to talk about her design, but with a brutal team like this, doesn't really need anything more complicated, including her brutal ace, Gladiatum, the zombie Pokemon. When a particularly passionate person dies, the energy of their passion merges their body with their grave, creating a Pokemon with limitless energy and a near unbreakable body. It's a gladiator because my original intention was that it was like a vengeful soul that fused its body with its tombstone and took this body to go seek revenge. But that doesn't make any sense because not only is Una not vengeful, she also is very clearly, not piloting this Pokemon, and this is her ace. Also, yes, that does imply that she's using her own core Anyway, Roman concrete is famously very, like, strong, hence why we have all of these remnants of Roman civilizations, I think. I'm not sure. And combine that with the idea of tombstones, and you have this concept of, like, relics of the past. Also zombies. So this Pokemon has, like, these exposed, more skinnier parts to almost be, you know, like the skeleton. That is the exposed, hardened skeleton of the original person this Pokemon is fused with. With its body, almost like, with its body, its head specifically supposed to look like a tombstone. And, you know, broken legs, outer layer, I'm not sure, meant to reference kind of the torn clothing zombies tend to wear in their, like, torn skin and stuff. With these little sections of concrete meant to almost reference, you know, those chest plates where you have the abs properly, like, imprinted into the chest plate, and, like, the big exposed pectorals. And with a giant spear and gauntlet, because of course, I'm pretty sure that was actually a reference. I'm not sure if that was a reference to a gladiator, to a specific class of gladiators or not, but who knows. Anyway, but of course, if it's a lead Pokemon in the Renai region, it needs to have an upgraded form. So here is Mega Gladiator. The energy of Mega Evolution causes this Pokemon's true body to grow so fast its stony shell can't keep up. As a last resort, they will reach a spectral arm out of their mouth and merge their body and soul with the enemy. This Pokemon's size has ranged from 2.5 meters to 10 meters. So yeah, it's now based on a whole mausoleum with the giant, you know, mouth meant to be like the mausoleum. It's long, it's gangly blue limbs meant to reference the cold blue skin of the corpse that it's over top of, I don't know. And its chest almost like broken open to imply that the Pokemon's true body evolved so strongly that the outer shell can't really keep up. So the pectorals, in air quote, are like spread apart with like the soul and energy and stuff swirling around beneath them, with very not human limbs anymore, almost like, I guess, mechanical, because there's like these specific ball joints and they're like these sticks, I don't know. And of course, we have the spectral arm of the corpse piloting this Pokemon reaching out. Don't let it grab you!